welcome back. We are here answering all of your plant and garden questions with our expert, Craig Hignight. And like I said, it's up and running, so go ask all of your questions, but we'll go ahead and kick it off. And let's see. Deb asked, when do you cut back blackberry bushes?
Blackberries get cut in the spring. And what you do is you go in and you take out last year's fruiting wood. And you can tell because they've got the little nubblies still on top where you pick the fruit. Those young canes that are coming up now, don't touch them. That's where your fruit is going to be next year, unless you've got some that are just absolutely exploding. When they finally get to about eye level, just barely nip the tip out of them. That'll make them branch out now, and they'll give you more fruit next year.
From Patty, what is wrong with my ZZ Zensi?
Probably a ZZ plant?
Yeah, it's turning yellow and she only waters it once a month.
Maybe you're pushing it just a little bit too far. Once a month sounds very shy on water for this plant. I hope you are watering it through thoroughly like we should water all houseplants, draining the excess so it never soaks up water from the bottom. But instead of 30 days, try and back it up to maybe just 3 weeks between waters. Now ZZs do not mind running to the dry side. They've got a great big nut under the ground that stores a lot of water. So that tells you that where they come from, they are used to running to the dry side. They store their water internally.
Interesting.
All righty. And Ramona asked, how come my climbing roses did not produce flowers?
Maybe they got pruned at the wrong time. Climbing roses should be pruned. Well, you might have missed a little bit of the window because it's after the first heavy flush of bloom in the spring. Now, if yours haven't bloomed this year, I would suggest going out now and taking the absolute tallest canes on the plant and reducing them down to about 10 inches above the ground. And that, by tall, I mean anything that is above eye level right now. So by taking those real old tall canes down close to the ground, you get new growth that comes up, and do not touch them in the fall or the spring. You could be cutting the flowers off at that time.
Oops. Yeah, don't do that. This is from Russell. Should new peonies that were planted this spring still be watered?
Oh, of course, of course. Right now, as we come toward the end of July, which is normally our wettest month, not this year, remember, you need to invest water in, peonies, asparagus, fruit trees, small fruits like people have been asking about, through August and September to build up the crop for next year. So yes, keep the water running. Don't get carried away. Peonies do not like wet feet.
Who does? And Gail asked, should we be fertilizing our yards yet? And when can we start planting grass seed?
Well, as a matter of fact, this is when we would normally put down our summer fertilizer. I don't know that it's going to do a lot of good this year because of the lack of rain. And as far as, like I said before, as far as planting grass seed, I would wait until we get out into early September. Hopefully Mother Nature and Mr. Stutsky is going to give us a little reprieve on rain when fall gets here.
We'll put the order in and see what happens. This is from Sarah. What do I do with my asparagus now that the cutting season is over? When should I cut it back?
Okay, right now you should give it some fertilizer. We fertilize immediately after we get done with our spring picking. Go ahead, like I said, give it some water in August and September, and you let it stand until it gets killed by frost in the fall. And then you go out and you take it off right at ground level, and those tops, they're not compostable. You should not keep them on property. They either go in the garbage or they get burned.
Alrighty, well that is all the time we have today for our wonderful plant and garden expert Craig Hignight, but you can join us each and every Wednesday on our Facebook Live. There you can submit all of your questions and be part of the conversation. GMQC at 11 will be right back.